how can you build real and concrete trust with your audience? How can you sell and market your services, but also impact even more people with your message? The thing is, people listen to other people that they know, like, and trust. It's basic sales 101. But people will also take your message to heart and implement and take action on your message when they know you, they like you, and they trust you. So how is it that you can better connect with your audience? Well, I've got two very specific things that will help you to build this trust. There's many different ways, but I believe the most powerful way to build trust with your audience is to create strong video content. You know, you connect with someone a lot more through a video than you do an article or a post. Watching videos from people like Tony Robbins and Eric Thomas and Mel Robbins and Jim Rohn helped me to feel like I knew those people when I had never even met those people in my life. You probably follow some people on social media where if you saw them on the street, it would feel as if you were talking to a friend because you've watched so much video content from these people. Even if you have a favorite musical artist and you watch all of their music videos, it probably feels like you have a kinship with that person. And that's not because they know you. It's not only because they've given you valuable information, but it's because now that you've posted a video, they've seen you. They've seen the way that you talk. They've seen you on camera. They've developed a closer relationship with you than they ever would have been able to through a blog or an article or even a podcast, which is just voice. Video is one of the most powerful ways to build trust with your client, especially if you're a coach, especially if you're a consultant. People aren't going to want to work with you until they can see what you can do, until they can see what you're all about. You know, when you watch these videos and I'm giving you information and whatever it is I'm giving you, whether it's a story, information, bringing a guest on the show, this is exactly what it would feel like to work with me. Except obviously, I'm not talking nearly as much. I'm asking questions, I'm listening so that we can create a really specific game plan for you. But this right here, what you see is what you get, right? This is how it would be to work with me. And other people want to see how it would be to work with you. I see so many coaches and consultants out there, and even leaders inside of companies where someone will have a leader for 6 months to a year, and they don't even know what that leader looks like. Unless you go to their Facebook page and you stalk their Instagram, you don't know what they look like. The most powerful leaders, the most powerful coaches, the most powerful consultants put themselves out there to be seen. And it doesn't mean they're an extrovert. It doesn't mean that they love to be around people and they love to put themselves in front of the camera. It simply means they know the power and the effectiveness of video. And they care about their people enough to create short-term discomfort by turning the camera on or hitting record on their smartphone because they're more focused on what value they can bring to that client or to the business they're serving or to the team members that they are the leader of. If you want to build real trust, then you've got to put yourself on video. That's number one. And number two is really one of the more important pieces. And I follow a lot of people, and I have yet to hear many of them do this one very important piece when it comes to building trust with your audience. And that is, you need to share your personal story. People talk a lot about authenticity. Real authenticity is letting people know who you really are, not by just telling them who you are and how many awesome things that you've done and all these lists of achievements or trophies that you have lined up in the background, but build trust by being authentic and sharing with them the hard parts of your life. Share with them the times in your life that maybe you weren't even as proud of, because this gives that person an idea of where you came from. And this is the thing about sharing your personal story. Ask yourself, what are the series of events that were so powerful and maybe even painful, they probably were painful, that have led you to where you are right now. And ask yourself, which of these stories or events is relevant to my audience? So if you're a fitness coach, then it might make sense to talk about some stories when you were overweight, or talk about what got you started on your fitness journey in the first place. If you're a finance coach, then maybe talk about the debt that you were in yourself. Talk about how life was before you knew how to earn money. Talk about how life was before you were taught how to use money, how to invest money. If you're a relationship coach, talk about how you got yourself into this realm of relationships. If you're a leader in a company and everyone starts from the same position, then share with those people about the times when you were in their shoes, when you were in their position. It's going to create a connection with you and the people listening that you wouldn't be able to achieve as easily, at least, as if you simply wrote a post or wrote an article or even gave your story on a podcast, because video is a very intimate setting to share these things. So when it comes to telling the story, in a future video, we can talk specifically about the different elements of a story and how to weave them in for maximum effectiveness. So be sure, wherever you're listening to this, like, follow, subscribe. That way you see all future broadcasts and all future videos that we release. But think about it as simple as this. Think about the beginning of your story, right? The pain that you were going through, what that pain caused you to feel emotionally, whether it caused you to feel desperate or depressed or anxious. It reminds me of my story when I was 21. I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now. I was over $20,000 in credit card debt. I had no idea of what my purpose in life was. I wanted to get promoted in the company I worked with, but I didn't know how. Like, I tell these stories all the time because it lets you know that I've been exactly where you are right now, or I've been exactly where you have been in the past. It shows that I haven't always just been someone who went live and shared content and shared advice. Like, you have to go through things before you can share your advice. You have to actually have experienced something in order to be an authority in that space and in order to actually be credible. So what was the beginning of this story? What were the realizations that you learned along the way? Who were the coaches and the mentors that helped you? And then where has that led you to? So if we go back, what's the beginning of the story? The initial pain. What did that cause you to feel? Who helped you out of that pain? Was it a coach, a mentor, a book you read, a video? What was the breaking point? The point where you realized that you had to change something. And then what were the realizations or strategies or techniques that you used in order to escape that pain, to get to where it is you are now, that you're sharing with other people to help them to do the same thing? And a lot of people always say, Brandon, I'm not really sure what videos I would create. If I share my story, then I can share my entire story in one video. Well, the beautiful thing about a story is you can create a separate video for each of those individual pieces. Yes, create a video that shares the entire story from beginning to end. That's awesome. It gives people a good 10,000 foot view. But then what if you created a separate video on just the painful times, talking about how it affected you, your family, your self-esteem, your job, your colleagues, whatever it may be? Talk about the way it made you feel in a separate video. And then you can make a separate video for each of the realizations and each of the different chapters of that story. The key is to always be sure that you're adding and injecting value for the people who are watching and listening, because that's the reason they're watching and listening in the first place. Now, if you're saying to yourself, this is great, I want to build more trust with my audience, I want to be more esteemed as a leader inside my organization, then if you want to accelerate your growth, then I'd love to have a personal conversation with you. So in the description, in the comments, there is a link to schedule a 15-minute clarity call with myself, where we'll dig into your unique situation and I will help you figure out a game plan to help you go from where you are to where it is you want to be with your brand, your impact, and even your income as a result. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow wherever you're listening so that you can see all future videos. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.